Hello everyone and welcome back to Gwimbs Discusses 40k Things. Yes, that's right. Now, today's subject is something I've always wanted to talk about, but I'll be honest, I didn't think anyone would be interested or really care, so I kind of kept my mouth shut. However, I was discussing this very same subject with a lad in the comments the other day, and I thought, you know what? I'm actually just going to get my thoughts out there, even if I'm the only one that cares. So, here we go. I would like to discuss why Sangunius, Primarch of the Blood Angels, why his tabletop rules are so underwhelming. Now, a bit of background. Everyone who knows 40k should know who Sangunius is. Sangunius, Primarch of the Blood Angels, the Great Angel, the Golden One, the Mighty One. I mean, everyone knows who Sangunius is, and everyone knows that Sangunius is freaking awesome. Within the top tier of Primarchs, a generally swell, really awesome guy, and a total badass. I mean, Sangunius is the Primarch that Horus thought should have been War Master in his stead. Sangunius is the Primarch that Gilliman made Emperor when he created the Imperium Secundus. And on top of that, Sangunius is the Primarch that solo kills Bloodthirsters and Keepers of Secrets. I mean, everyone knows how he broke Carbander's fucking spine over his knee. This is also the Primarch that destroyed an Imperator-class Titan and beat a Garmin with his freaking spear. The Primarch who in the latest Siege of Terra novel destroyed a Warlord and a Warhound Scout Titan in single combat before the remaining two Warhounds piss off in terror of having to fight the Angel. I mean, Sangunius is the guy who solo kills demons like they're nothing and defends the Eternity Gate single-handedly. Sangunius is just awesome. And the fact he's written so well keeps him from being a Mary Sue, and it actually makes him a really decent character. So you'd expect for such an awesome, well-beloved Primarch in the lore and by the community, he would have similarly awesome rules to go along with it. Unfortunately not. Yeah, this is where we get to my annoyance and gripes. Now, a few things. First off, Sangunius is a little bit overpriced for what you get. If he was what I'd like him to be, then I think the 485 points you're spending on him would be justified. At the moment, Horus has 500, Jagade Khan's on, 395, so Sangunius is pretty expensive for what you get. Now, rather than just going through all of his individual stats and things, let me just explain a few things about what the Math Hammer guys did when they added up Sangunius fighting his brothers. Now, I'll just give you the abridged version. So, Sangunius vs. Horus. Sangunius loses. Fine, that's how he dies in lore, fair enough. Be nice if he could equal him a little bit more, but according to this, Sangunius dies within 2 rounds of combat. I can guess I can pass that. Sangunius vs. Angron. That's about equal. Mutual double kill. Okay, perfectly fine. But then we get to things like Sangunius vs. Fulgrim. Sangunius loses. Sangunius loses Ferrus Manus. Sangunius loses. Sangunius loses Vulcan. Sangunius loses. Sangunius vs. Petarabo. Sangunius loses. I'm sorry, but really? Really? Sangunius vs. Leman Russ. He loses. Okay. Leman Russ said he could never have defeated Sangunius in one-on-one combat because he was the perfect blend of skill and fury, but sure, why not? So Sangunius goes down to about half of his brothers. Now, for someone who Russ said he couldn't defeat in combat, and Gilliman said he couldn't defeat in combat, and Horus said he probably couldn't defeat in combat, this is a bit underwhelming. So, Sangunius doesn't really have the bang for his buck that you'd expect him to have in terms of fighting his brothers. And his weapon loadouts kind of change what he's going to fight anyway. Now, a band-aid solution to this would be if you gave Sangunius hit and run, like some of the Blood Angels Legion strategies do, then Sangunius suddenly turns into a much stronger character. Basically, because all of Sangunius' bonuses are on the charge, so Sangunius gets a shitload more attacks when he is fighting, in first round of combat than he does if he is fighting, in a standoff strike. So, yeah, maybe if you gave him the hit and run rule, he could be able to charge in and out of combat, and you'd be able to utilize his more charge-based bonuses and buffs more effectively. However, Sangunius isn't Korax, and he shouldn't be disengaging from a fight to charge back in. He should be just laying into them, but, there we go. So, in terms of fixing his rules, I'm not a huge rule person, so I'm not sure exactly how to fix them, but it'd be nice if you gave him a little bit more. Maybe one more strength, one more toughness. I mean, 6 attacks is nice, but his 7 initiative, Fulgrim has 9. It's just a bit off to me. But what really bugs me the most, believe it or not, and this might sound petty, is Sangunius' weapons. Now, who the hell designed this? And have they not read any of the fluff surrounding Sangunius and his weapons? So, the first off that really pisses me off is Sangunius has the Infernus, a Inferno pistol. Now, you'd be thinking, yeah, what's the problem with that? Well, it has one use. It's an Inferno pistol with a single shot. What? I'm sorry, but what? Blood Angels champions and captains get Inferno pistols that have more than one shot. Why does their Primarch get shit on? A single shot Infernus pistol with an 18 range. Eh? That is a garbage ranged option. Angron has Archaeotech pistols. Mortarion has the Lantern. It just, yeah. Even Russ has his special bolter. So that's just stupid. That's just stupid on so many levels. A one-use pistol, that's dumb. But then when you get into some of the more interesting things. So, Sangunius can be either equipped with the Encarmine Blade or the Spear of Telesto. Good, awesome. You read the canon, you know he had both. Nice. But then you get down into the nitty-gritty stuff of it. So, the Spear of Telesto, on base, stat line pretty good. Plus 3, plus 3 strength on the first round of charge, AP 1 on charge, melee, two-handed, instant death, mastercrafted. That's pretty awesome. But then, this rule. Once per game in the shooting phase, in lieu of making any other shooting attacks, Sangunius may hurl the Spear of Telesto with the force of a bolt of angelic lightning. Range 12, so immediately the range is less than the Infernus pistol. Strength 7, AP 1, Assault 1, instant death. Why would you throw away your fucking spear? That's retarded. And what's even worse is, once you throw away the spear, you get a backup weapon. Awesome, what is it? The Moonsilver Blade, which is Strength 6, AP 3, Melee Mastercrafted, Moonsilver. Now, any wound caused by a weapon with, Demon or Psyker by this weapon gets extra damage. So it's an anti-Psyker weapon. Okay. Yet the low stat and the low armor piercing means that Terminator armor and Artificer armor are able to block it. Sangunius should not be blocked by fucking Terminator or Artificer armor. A sergeant with Artificer armor can stand up to the Angel if he's armed with just the Moonsilver Blade. That's just... no. That's retarded. And the other thing is, going back to the Spear of Telesto, did they forget that the Spear of Telesto has an inbuilt, ethereal flamer? It shoots bolts of ethereal fire. This was established in Rapin in the Blood Angels, trilogy really early on, and it's used again in the Horus Heresy and Siege of Terra novels. Where is his inbuilt flamethrower spear? You didn't think to bring it? What? That's just dumb. Now, his other option, the Blade and Carmine, honestly, it's a great sword. Plus 1 strength, AP 2, melee, rampage, shred, perfectly fine. But a single-shot Infernus pistol, having Sangunius' spear, which doesn't have the inbuilt flamethrower that it has in lore. Multiple times we see it, in 30k and 40k when it's recovered. So, having a spear that you can throw away for no reason to give yourself an inferior shitty sword that's only good against demons or psychers, which, let's be honest, how many times are you going to be fighting against them? Very rarely, since most people don't run demon armies. So, his weapons just baffle me. However, rather than just bitching, I'd like to say this actually has an easy fix, believe it or not, and it's so easy it makes me very concerned as to why the writers didn't, or the rulebook writers didn't actually come out and do it themselves. And it goes like this. Sanguinius' weapon options. You can either have the option to have the Blade and Carmine and the Infernus pistol, which is not single shot use, it's a actual Inferno pistol. So you can have the option to have his sword and pistol, giving him a ranged weapon which specializes in anti-armor, short-ranged, but good for dealing with, dreadnoughts or armor vehicles, while the Blade and Carmine is excellent for taking on blobs of infantry. Or you can have the Spear of Telesto, which you get rid of the throne rule, kill it, burn it in a vat of acid, and replace its ranged attack with the inbuilt heavy flamer. Vulcan has an inbuilt heavy flamer, or Vulcan has a heavy flamer as his ranged weapon, so why can't Sanguinius? It's such a simple fix. You don't even need to make it a mastercrafted heavy flamer or something. I would be happy with a regular heavy flamer. It's more accurate with the actual fluff and rules. It gives Sanguinius a interesting option. I mean, having a Primarch with Sanguinius' maneuverability with a flamer means he could jump around behind an enemy group, burn them with the blast template for the flamer, and then charge him with a spear. Or maybe you use a squad of Crimson Paladins to target a 20-man tactical squad. Sanguinius comes around the side, burns the back line of the enemy with the Spear of Telesto's flamer, and then charges in and gets the extra damage with the spear. It makes more sense, and it'd be more interesting to see how it would work, because the only other Primarch with a flamer is Vulcan, and that's obvious. So it's just such a simple thing they could have done to fix it, yet they didn't. Yet you have this stupid throne rule that I've honestly never heard of anyone using. I hang around on a few 40k discords, and a few people use Sanguinius with a spear, and not one of them have ever told me that they have thrown it and used the thrown ability. It's so stupid that the players don't use it, and it's so stupid that why is it there? Sorry, it bugs me. And as for the rest of Sanguinius' rules, 2+ armor save, 4+ invulnerable save on his armor, yeah, that's okay. Sanguinius has his wings, yeah, that's pretty good. Counts as having a jump pack, that's fine. It's slightly odd, just a little bit, but whatever, in terms of some of his other rules I'm saying. So yeah, I don't get it. They could have done so much better to make Sanguinius more powerful and more top-tier Primarch to justify the 485 point, investment you're putting into him. I mean, if you've got a 2,500 point army, you've just used up 500 points of it on Sanguinius right away. And I'll be honest, if the enemy brings another Primarch and you end up being, forced in a 1v1, I don't face well for Sanguinius' odds, which is a depressing thought to have. So, I'd like to think that one day when the Horus Heresy guys consolidate all of their books together into one super book for the Siege of Terror or whatever, that they up Sanguinius' stat line and change his weapons a bit. But this is Forge World they're talking about. I mean, they only announced Saul Tarvitz' model, and what, has it been 6-7 years since the first, Horus Heresy rulebook came out? So I'm not holding out much hope, but thank you for allowing me to vent and, work through some things about Sanguinius. And I thank you very much for sitting through this if you did, and I will catch you all again another time.